Good evening and welcome to our holiday concert, kind of December 2nd, so we're kind of starting out the holiday season. And we present the first piece is going to be, as you can see from your program, quite unusual for a band concert. And this is the world premiere, so you are here while we give birth to a new piece of music. So that's kind of exciting. Being that we're coming to the close of the centennial year of the city of Walnut Creek, what a perfect way to cap off the celebration than to provide a gift to the city of Walnut Creek in this performance of Anna's Gift. And to be able to share that with the dear friend and creator of the project, Barry Green, I think you're in for a real treat. And you can be able to meet the composer and the author and the guest artists at the end of the concert in the lobby. They'll be up there so you can tell them what you think. And then after intermission, we'll come back for some of your holiday favorites. We certainly appreciate your support of your community band, and I hope you enjoy the evening.
Switzerland at last and was standing at the airport in a small crowd waiting for her luggage. She had come back to see her musical mentor, Master Chen, a Tai Chi master whose sage guidance opened the door to her artistry and her career. 10 years had passed so quickly, a life of airports, concert halls, hotels, performances. These were her bread and butter. While she was an acclaimed bass virtuoso on stage, her private life was a song of hello, goodbye, we should get together. She yearned for Master Chen's guidance. Her career was not enough. She ached simply to be happy. Checking into the hotel, there would be time for a nap before the cab came to take her to her master's mountain home. She closed the curtains, leaned back on the bed, closed her eyes. The phone rang loudly. Anna sat up. The front desk was calling. Had she missed a rehearsal? They called to say that an elderly gentleman was waiting in the lobby. He did not give his name, but he seemed Chinese. It was Master Chen. He had come to see her. What to do? Well, she took a moment to freshen up, and then she rushed down to the lobby. Master Chen was delighted to see her, a childlike smile crinkling out of his ancient eyes. He beamed, "Such a pleasure, Anna. You are lovely as ever." Anna laughed. "You are too kind. How are you? It's so good to see you." Master Chen lifted up his gold-tipped cane. He said, "I use this now, turned my ankle near the mountain stream that we visited so long ago. Do you remember?" "Of course, I remember everything. What we did, what you said," and she hugged him softly. "You are the one who brought my music to life." Master Chen shrugged, tilted his head. "I was only a guide. Now, let me ask a question. Do you have time to explore today, Anna?" He took her hand. "A little time to walk with an old friend?" "Today I am yours," she said. "But when do we work on the music?" "No," he shrugged. "No, playing today. Come, let us walk." "Well, where are we going?" "A little surprise." They both walked a few blocks, soon entered the National Fine Arts Museum, a favorite of Master Chen's. Marble halls of the museum, Anna and Master Chen wandered. Anna drifted off to see the Impressionists and sat down before Monet's painting, Dance at Bougainville. She savored the muted but ardent passion of the man dancing with the woman, and time softened as she reflected on her solo life, wondering when she too might meet someone. And then she came up from her reflection, looked around, and said to herself, "Well, where is Master Chen?" She found him having tea in the museum cafe, and she joined him, and she asked him, "Master Chen, besides missing you, I did come for another reason." And Master Chen smiled. Yes, Anna? Well, it's wonderful when I play music and the audience is there listening, but later, yes, he soothed. What is it like later? Well, in the hotel room, I sit down on the bed and I look out the window at the bright lights and I wonder, well, what is it that you wonder? I wonder what Carl, my grandfather, felt on his musical tours when he was away from my grandmother, his wife, Sophie. Oh, he loved her very much, you must know that. Well, I do know, said Anna, but that's the thing. When there is someone who waits for your call, who wants to hear the sound of your voice, everything changes. Master Chen stirred his tea and nodded, yes, I see. She lowered her eyes and folded her napkin slowly, and she said very softly, Master Chen, in my cell phone, I have 1,000,000 telephone numbers, all good friends, but not one to call my own. Master Chen confessed, yes, full suitcase, but empty heart. Quickly, and she said, don't get me wrong, I love my playing and my concerts. Master Chen nodded, yes, I know. Now play a little game with me. He reached out both of his closed hands and said to Anna, pick one. One of my hands is everything you'll need to be happy. Pick a path, a person, a chance, even love, and your life changes. Go out into the world with that spirit, and your life will sparkle with possibilities. Anna said, but what if you don't have time for love? Master Chen went, oh, my child, the night is young, the moon is full. Come with me. To a special exhibit featuring Pablo Casals. A video played on one wall. In it, Casals passionately playing Bach Prelude in G, and on the other wall, Casals is sitting in a sunny garden next to a student teaching cello, yet talking about love. Casals is teaching the young girl that music itself can only go so far. He is saying that the soul needs 3 gifts from love. Love of people, love of beauty in the natural world, and the love of artistic masterpieces. These would inspire her artistry, he assured his student. Before they left the museum, Master Chen paused and drew Anna down the steps to the balcony overlook of the museum's entrance. The spectacle of the trees and the skyline and the sidewalk traffic was splendid. He asked Anna to close her eyes, and then he whispered, Anna, listen to my voice. Relax. Let everything else go and think only about love. Ask life to grant your eyes and ears passion in all things musical. Hear love's voice in a song, in a lover's voice, and bells that ring out sweetly. Let love's light be seen in people's faces, the towering branches of a tree, the sparkle of a running brook, wherever you are. Let love reveal the secrets of your heart. Anna smiled and opened her eyes. I promise I will listen to what love and life bring. Walking out of the museum, Master Chen and Anna strolled silently on the sidewalk back toward the hotel. In front of a park entrance, they saw two musicians, a man and a woman, playing to a crowd. It became obvious that they were in love. Their smiles, their eyes did not wander from one another. They were fixed on each other's gaze. Their little duets seemed to swing in a playful, jazzy way, seasoned by their own whimsy and affection. The two musicians finally moved closer, and at the end of the piece, merging their melodies as one, and during their last sustained note, looked at one another, leaned over and kissed, and the crowd applauded. Currency was dropped into their cases. Master Chen nudged Anna. "See? It's working already." I know, Anna said, but I want to be in those duets. I want to be the one who's in that kiss. Where and how will I get this love? Later, over an early supper in the hotel, Master Chen told Anna the story of her grandparents' first meeting. It seems that Anna's grandfather ordered roses in a flower shop to be sent to his own mother for Mother's Day, but the shop girl misplaced the address, and so she called your grandfather Carl to ask what that address was. Sophie, Master Chen said, that shop girl was your grandmother. And Carl liked the sound of that voice over the phone, and so he said, I'll come down to the shop and I'll deliver the flowers myself, no problem. And of course, he really wanted to meet this nice young lady with that lovely voice. And so your grandfather Carl came to the shop, enjoyed chatting with her, and then as he left the shop with those roses, he turned around, came back to her, and pulled one of the roses from the bouquet and smiled and offered it to her. And she said, but you'll be one rose short. And Carl shrugged, perhaps, but a girl like you deserves a rose. Enjoy. Master Chen, he nodded and he said, a spontaneous impulse. He could have left the flower shop, never looking back, but he did not. And so he married Sophie. They had children, grandchildren, and Anna, here you are, because of that single rose. Anna smiled. You are forever the romantic Master Chen, and I love you for it. Thank you for your kindness and your understanding. Always, my dear, Master Chen replied with a twinkle in his eye. Leaving Switzerland the next day, Anna resumed her concert tour to Latin America. She would visit the Caribbean, Brazil, and Argentina. On this exotic tour, she had a new agenda: to find the passion inspired by that Casals exhibit. She wanted to spend time experiencing the wonders of nature, the rainforest, flowers, birds, exotic sounds of South America. She was excited to experience these rhythms and harmonies and sambas of Brazil. Argentina was the home of her favorite composer, Astor Piazzolla, who worked and wrote the Libertango that Anna played so well, and now she could test out her famous sultry interpretation in its native environment. The critics uniformly adored her, well, except for a local one in the city, but Anna shrugged him off. The concert halls, though mid-sized, were full, and so after a performance, Anna went with a girlfriend to a little club in a part of the city they called Sant'Elmo, where local tango dancers and the young gathered. El Fuego Azul was a simple, rustic, but fashionable spot, densely packed, a smoky destination on an old back street reminiscent of Paris. The tango dancers crowded on a floor. Anna wondered what it like to feel that being held so close. Their drinks came and the music was intoxicating. There was something in the tango that she wanted to touch or that touched her that night. It was as if life took new colors of sound out of a box and sent them to her ears. Then, after receiving a text, her friend rushed out of the club with a promise that she would be back later, but she did not return, and there was Anna. Anna sitting there, listening to the tango. And out of the club's shadow, a young man quietly approached. He was tall, dark, and in a closer light, she thought handsome. Uh-oh, she thought, here it comes. He's gonna start flirting with me. But he smiled, walked right past her. She thought. Then a moment later, out of nowhere, a waiter appeared at the table with a red rose, placed it in the vase on her table. Well, what's this? She asked. The waiter turned from the gentleman over there near the piano. He noticed that your vase was empty and actually ran out, and so he sent his own rose. There it was. Tall, dark, handsome, letting the rose do his work for him. And so she got up, walked slowly over to the piano to see who he was, or to thank him, or at least ask why. And she lost track of why she was moving toward him, for the Argentine Malbec was making everything seem delightful and funny. And there he was smiling, saying, I just thought a pretty woman like you should have a rose. You know, that's a line, she said. Well, I may not be good at lines, but I'll make it up to you. Come dance. As the dance music plays, they danced, and she melted in his arms like cream into coffee. She was dizzy, and so to balance, she focused on a cute little scar over his eyes, and she said, how did you get that? And he later said, it's a long story, and she heard herself, well, that's okay, we've got all night. It was not like her to make a pass. Oh, well, she thought, I'm in Argentina. Life is asking me to pick a hand. His name was Rodrigo Mantayo. He said he knew who she was from the newspapers, and he told her that he was a musical producer, mostly with up-and-coming solo artists. She took a chance and told him the story of Carl and Sophie and their rose, his grandparents. He liked it, but he joked that his parents' story paled by comparison. They met on a stalled commuter train, sharing a banana. Anna laughed. Finally, she asked him about that cute little scar, and he said, oh, well, one day my sister was chasing me through the house, and I ducked. She said, poor thing, touching his forehead tenderly. They walked out of the club, looked up at the brilliant stars. The night was so beautiful, and they quietly realized that they were now together, side by side, strolling down the cobblestone streets. Anna with a table rose in her hand. Anna went away on tour again, but then in 3 weeks there was a break, and she came back to Buenos Aires. Rodrigo showed her the natural wonders beyond the city, the rainforest, the beautiful Iguazu Falls, and more. Her eyes looked around in awe, entering the sacred realms of beauty and silence. The harmony between the two of them grew into a major chord. She had an impulse to play her bass under the canopy of the rainforest with the sun kissing her hands, and so Rodrigo borrowed a vehicle and took her there, and she played, and it was marvelous. 2 days later, Anna was invited to play for an important network television program honoring the roots of Argentine music. Her name had been suggested, and she was thrilled. They asked if she would play the Libertango piece, and then unexpectedly, the producers apologized, withdrew that offer to have her play, citing that the prestigious Argentine band they originally wanted, Años Dorados, was now available for the broadcast. Anna was very disappointed, but Rodrigo was even more upset. He finally confessed that Años Dorado was in fact a very popular band led by his father, Alejandro Mateo. Anna asked why Rodrigo had kept this a secret. Rodrigo explained that it was a challenge growing up in his father's shadow, wanting always to carve out a space for his own. Well, she understood, but she was still hurt. Alejandro Mateo learned of the situation by talking to his son, and he felt awkward about the position that he had placed people in. And so he invited Anna to come play for him to see if there was some special way to include her. He would hear her sound, and he would know, for his listening was deep. So one afternoon, Anna accepted Alejandro's offer, came to his studio to meet him. After talking, he asked her to play. And with great concentration and sincerity, she took up her instrument, lit into the Libertango, but then in the middle of the playing, she stopped suddenly. She knew she was forcing the feelings, and she said to him, "Let me begin again." And Alejandro nodded, of course, but she never played. Tears welled up, and she confessed, I feel I just don't have it." Alejandro smiled and rose slowly, came over to comfort her, placed his arm on her shoulder and said, "Dear me, you are trying so hard. You don't need to, you know." And with that, he sat down at his grand piano and continued playing the tune where she left off effortlessly, for the music for him was an old friend. And when he was done, he winked at her and said, "Slow down, child. You'll get there. Play from your heart. Let it be. Young heart, young music. More years, more history, a different sound. Both are true. Both are true." He then offered to coach her, play in a new composition for his band entitled Memorias Mi Papa, a tribute to his own father, also a prominent band leader. He told her how long it took for him to believe that he could measure up to his father's great reputation, and how artists, well, all of us in the end, can only answer to the gift of our own talent. The love of Rodrigo, the kindness of Alejandro gave Anna wings, and the television concert was a success. Anna came back to visit Master Chen a year after she had last seen him. She would tell him about Rodrigo and the education of her heart. And she would give Master Chen a stone that she had plucked from a mountain stream in Argentina, in the rainforest, and it would be placed in that white bowl that Master Chen set out for her so many years ago. During that visit, Anna could not help but notice that Master Chen's life force had dimmed slightly, and that he was in fact frail. The March wind blew cold around his home, and it took a fire burning in the hearth to warm his hands. Gazing at him sitting in his great chair, Anna realized that he would one day pass from this world, and at the end of her visit, Anna asked Master Chen what she could possibly do to repay him for all that he had given her and taught her. He paused and smiled, considering her question. His Siamese cat leapt up on his lap and curled into a question mark, and he stroked her silken fur, and then he offered to Anna, "Anna, your gift to me will be to go out into the world and teach others. Help them find their gift as you found yours. Do this with all the love in your heart." Anna's eyes welled up with tears, and she took his hand and said, "Master Chen, I promise to pass these gifts along to others and teach them as you have taught me." "Good, Anna," Master Chen replied. "Then the music will never end. The love will never end."
Good evening and welcome. This isn't on. Is it on? Perfect. Hi, I'm Susie Garcia, and I'm a proud member of the French horn section and also a director with the Walnut Creek Concert Band. I want to thank you so much for coming this evening. And oh my gosh, Anna's gift was so awesome. For us, it was like we were recording a soundtrack. It was really, really amazing. And as band members, we love music. We love to play music. We love to play music for an audience. And that's part of why we're here. And we're not all music educators. We've got doctors, attorneys, scientists, a whole range of talents. And we're really happy to play good music for an audience. I mean, I could play good music at home. I could put a French horn concerto on and play it in my living room by myself. And I can tell you that my husband agrees it's not the same experience as being here playing for you. We are a charitable organization, we're volunteers, and so we do rely on donations to make all of this happen and to bring in the talent like Barry and his wife Mary and Alan and Andres. I mean, if you had time to read their bios, it is astounding, the amazing talent we had here. So, envelope please. You do have an envelope for donations. And as a side note, today is Giving Tuesday. It's a national event, which just happened to coincide with our concert. We're very excited about that. And we're also very honored that we have had an anonymous donor agree to match every dollar that is donated to the band for this year. So if you donated $500, it would turn into $1,000. If you happen to work for a company that also had a match and they matched your $500, then that would turn into $2,000. So any way that you can donate would be very wonderful to have your support. You can put the money in the envelope here with a check or credit card, and you can leave it at the front. And if you forgot your special Walnut Creek Concert Band donation checkbook at home, you can mail it, or you can go to our website and you can make a donation there. We have a PayPal button. It's walnutcreekband.org. So it doesn't have the word concert in it. It's walnutcreekband.org. So on behalf of the band, it was our pleasure and honor to present Anna's gift to you and our gift of music, and have a very happy holiday season. Maestro?
So this is a part of the program where we loosen up a little bit. And I didn't hear any humming and singing of any of those Christmas carols, so feel free. Okay, so Hanukkah Rhapsody, you know all the Hanukkah tunes. Okay, it's dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. You can, no. But no, if you something familiar, you want to sing along, you want to tap your foot, it's perfectly okay. This is kind of a not as formal type time. We want you to get into the holiday spirit. And once again, thanks for coming. Thank you for joining us tonight and for this very special world premiere and our annual ushering in the holidays. So we're glad you're here. And as Susie mentioned, I mean, this is your community band. It's volunteer band of musicians. We have professional musicians, doctors, lawyers, school teachers, house spouses, too. I'm the house spouse. Anyhow, if you'd like to join us, it doesn't cost anything. And you know, I was a music educator for 42 years, and the prime goal of music education is lifelong involvement in music. Lifelong. So get those oboes and those bassoons dusted off, make some reeds, get back in shape. Visit our website and come join us. So if you know, seriously, if you know of some musicians in the Walnut Creek area who'd like to join us, support our community, make great music, please send them our way. Particularly, we're looking for some more oboists, some bassoonists, more percussion, and more French horns. But everybody's welcome. Give the gift of music. Okay, so again, happy holidays, and thanks for coming. We'll see you in March when we bring the band classics back. So there's going to be a lot of war horses there that you're going to like, from Bach to Bernstein. Thank you very much. Happy holidays.